Welcome back to another episode on Corey's Garage. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing some refinishing on leather seats and show you how I do that, at least how I am doing it right now. It's my first time I've ever done it, but I've done a couple seats already. I think that you're probably going to like the results, and I'm going to show you how I did it so that if you want to do it, you can do it. Didn't really find any good videos on YouTube on this. They might exist, but I couldn't find them. So let's dive in. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. Here are the products that I am using. I got all this stuff from Leather World Technologies. They can color match your interior to an extent. It's not going to be perfect, at least in my experience, but you can get a kit you can add on that you can actually adjust your color a little bit. It's hard because like this vehicle is 16 years old, so you can't expect that any of the leather is going to look exactly like it did back then. But anyways, we have the dye, the prep cleaner, which I'm not convinced that you really need that. You could probably use any kind of cleaner, but I got it just to be safe. And some leather filler. I got that because there's a couple cracks that I'm going to fix. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. But first, let's look at a little comparison shot here. So because these seats, the color match is not absolutely perfect, I decided to do basically a two-tone. So I did the whole middle of the seat and left the bolsters, or like the sides, because those actually aren't that bad. They need to be cleaned up, but they're not too bad. And this is what it basically looked like before I started. This seat's a little bit worse because it's a driver's seat, so it's not quite as nice. In the back, I did the same thing. I'm getting ready to put the final coat on that side. This side's basically done. No conditioner on any of this yet. There's some conditioner on the base of that seat, but that's like one coat. It needs more. And so as you can see, it looks pretty good. Looks a whole lot better, I think, than this. And so let's dive in and show you how I'm going to fix this. Now, one problem I have is that my little two-tone trick isn't going to work so good on the driver's seat, because we have cracks where I haven't been dyeing on the other seats. And so I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I want to fix those cracks. That's why I have that filler. But I don't really want to change what I've been doing. But I probably will have to at least do this side, this one edge of the seat. And just, it'll be a little bit different than the other ones, but at least it won't have the cracks in it. Hopefully. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some sandpaper. I've got some 320 grit. And I'm going to lightly sand this area to try to knock off the high points, because when it cracks, the leather lifts. Now, it's not going to be perfect. There's still going to be some high spots here, but we're going to try to get those knocked down a little bit. The rest of it's all pretty good. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. Let's try to sand that down and see if we can get that a little bit smoother. Ideally, if you could glue it together, it would probably be better, but that's not going to work in my case. Just trying to take off the really sharp edge. I know we're not going to get it perfectly flat, but at least if you don't have a really sharp edge sticking up, there'll be less things to grab hold of. Now I'm going to take my cleaner spray, or color prep cleaner. I'm going to soak everything pretty good. And I'm really going to get kind of aggressive trying to scrub it all as good as I can. Once you've gotten the seat about as clean as you think you're going to get it, without spending too much time, you can go ahead and apply the leather filler. In a lot of cases, you're not going to need this, depending on how badly damaged your seats are. Luckily, these seats aren't that bad. I've seen some where they're really torn right up, and I wouldn't even want to repair those. But this is worth repairing. It's really not that bad. You can see that the color does not match. This is just a beige filler, but it takes the dye extremely well. You won't notice it once I put the dye on there. And you don't need a lot of this stuff. It goes a long ways. We'll just start in the biggest crack here. Just apply it like you would filler, Bondo. Just want to make sure I get it in there really good. I felt like this stuff kind of dried up kind of rubbery or sort of soft, so you don't really want to get too much that you're going to have to sand off because it's not going to sand very easily. It also may take multiple coats to get it just the way you want it. I find that sometimes the best tool is the one that's already attached to you, and I'm just going to go and smooth it over with my finger lightly, try not to dig it out of the crack. And I know that I will be likely putting on another coat, but this is going to make it just a lot easier to deal with. I'll just take a rag, just keep wiping my finger off as I go. I can already tell that's doing a much better job than that wooden stick. We'll let that dry up for a little while, then we'll go ahead and we'll put another coat on it just to get it a little bit better. Like I said, it's not going to go away. You're going to see like a little bit of a lump where these cracks were, but that's totally okay with what I'm trying to achieve here. I think you're going to see a night and day difference on the seat when I'm done. While this is drying up, I'm going to finish applying the dye on the back seat, and then we'll get the camera set back up for when I'm going to... Probably won't record the second coat on this. It's going to be pretty boring. The next thing you see will be me starting to apply the dye on this seat. Let's use a little Super Clean to clean up this engine bay. Super Clean has reached out to me, and they are offering a free bottle of degreaser, the spray kind and the aerosol kind, to any of my subscribers. So if you have not subscribed yet, now would be a good time to subscribe. I'll put your name into a raffle, and they will hook you up with a free package. I'm working with them to try to get you a free t-shirt too, because who doesn't like a free t-shirt? If you want to get in on that Super Clean giveaway, you don't have to even subscribe, and if you're already subscribed, you can get in. I thought about it after. I didn't like the idea of telling people that were already subscribed that they couldn't get in on that giveaway. So just leave a comment in this video, and about a week from the time I post this video, I will use some sort of program. They'll just go through and automatically pick a random comment. You will get a sweet t-shirt, the aerosol Super Clean, and the spray Super Clean degreasers. Totally free, shipped right to you. You'll have to let me know that you want it. If you win, email me your address and all that, and I will have that shipped right out to you. Thanks. Now here's the part when I first did this and started to do this, I got kind of scared because it looks pretty scary when you're putting it on. I'm using a foam brush in a pinkish purple bowl, which is not important. And I already did the backside and the headrest. It's still wet, still drying. This is not the best way to apply the dye. The best way would be to spray it on, but I didn't want to deal with all the masking and all that, and so I'm doing it this way. You will get some streaking, but it's pretty insignificant, and compared to what, in this case, what I'm fixing, I'm okay with a little bit of streaking. I don't think anybody will ever pick up on it. I do, because I've got a long history of painting, so that sort of thing, I pick up on it pretty easy, but other people probably won't even ever notice that. I think that when you open the door to this car, you're just going to be amazed at how good the interior actually looks. So apply this with this brush, and it's going to take probably 3 coats. So the first coat doesn't look really that great. It'll be kind of transparent, but as you go, put more coats on, let it dry, put another coat on, it starts to look a whole lot better. So what I do is I'm basically cutting in, just like if I was painting something. And anywhere where there's threads, you're gonna see like little holes, and I let the dye just kind of fill those right up. And when it dries, it'll absorb that, so you won't see those little holes anymore. So I basically kind of let all the seams just kind of get filled right in with it. You want to keep your sponge nice and wet. Make sure you get right down in the creases. What I do is I put it on kind of heavy, and then I try to just gently kind of feather it out to make all the brush strokes as thin as I can get them. Like I said before, you will have some brush strokes. There's nothing you can really do about that unless you spray it on, which I highly recommend. If you're able to do that, you can get a little, like a pre-veil sprayer, or use an airbrush. I would probably recommend using the airbrush if you're going to go that route. And I do have an airbrush. I thought about digging it out for this, but decided not to. So again, just keeping the brush nice and wet. Try not to leave any heavy puddles or anything. Like I said, I go back over and I try to lightly, just very lightly, try to just go over it. Try to make it all as smooth as I possibly can. It's kind of like applying the worst covering paint that you could think of doing. That's kind of what it is. So just be patient, be gentle. I'm going to apply the rest of this, and then we'll see how it came out on the camera right after. That's the first coat on. As you can see, it looks absolutely terrible, but it will get better as more coats go on and as it dries. When it's shiny, it really looks bad, but eventually it will look like that. Like, it looks nice. So compared to what I started with, it's looking pretty amazing. Let's give it some time to dry. I'll slap a couple more coats on it just like that and update you. The driver's seat still drying up a little bit, so it could be a little bit blotchy, a little bit flashy. But what do you think overall, huh? I think for 16-year-old leather, this looks pretty good. Like I said, you can see where those cracks were. Just lift it up a little bit, but it looks a lot better than it did, I think. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And I'll see you in the next one.